Yeah. Marriage Conference 2026. So my mom, I found out from my aunt that my mom was doing a lot of cheating on my dad. Found out much later. And then the killing thing was, I found out from my aunt that my dad knew about it. And I thought, how in the world is he putting up with this stuff? And so eventually they end up getting divorced. So burying a problem doesn't make it any better, right? Acknowledging it, right? Calling it out, right? If you have trust issues, hey, we got to talk about this trust issues, right? Because there's some stuff there that I'm thinking is going on that's not, right? Or that I think might be going on. And so you got to establish some type of relationship based on, is this person telling me the truth? So we're going to go through the baggage stuff. So marriage has a lot of baggage. They got emotional baggage, got a lot of abuse baggage, right? Stuff that happens to you when you're a kid, you bring that luggage into your current relationship, right? And you a lot of times, some people have more baggage than others. Some people have totes of baggage. You remember, I don't know if you guys, some of y'all are younger than me, but they used to have, when we went to college, we used to have these luggage, these cases that we would put all of our stuff in. We call them trunks, right? And some people got one trunk of stuff. Some people got two trunks of stuff. Some people got probably six trunks. And the thing is, you lug around that stuff and you never really deal with it. You never unload. You don't even share it with the person you're getting married to, see? But the truth is you can't hide none of that stuff. Best policy, put it out there, right? In a safe way. That makes sense. Even if you don't feel like you can, man, do I trust my spouse with this or my potential spouse? Well, tell a therapist. You know what I mean? Tell somebody that not going to run out and tell everybody your business. But the whole point is get it out there, talk about it. Hey, I got to deal with this stuff. And the way you deal with it is you talk about it. So it's like unloading baggage. And the more you talk about it in a healthy way, you literally unpack what's going on in that trunk. And once you get through with that trunk, you literally can throw the whole thing away because it's not gone, but you talked about it. And it's like, okay, I'm processing that. And the brain needs to do that. So let's go to the next. I got slides here, but you can't see them. So we talked about that. Understand emotional baggage. So there's a lot of stuff that people bring to a relationship. Unresolved experiences from childhood. We just talked about that. Past relational wounds and disappointments. Show of hands, how many of y'all have ever talked to your spouse about stuff that disappointed you in your current relationship or your past one? Two? Yeah. It's tough. Those are hard conversations to have. What do y'all think? You want to share a little bit? What do y'all think about that? What is your experience with that piece? You can be as specific or as vague as you want if you choose to share. Pass? Okay, that sounds good. Oh, let's see.
I was trying to share, but I couldn't figure out how to unmute.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, got you.
I mean, one of them is abuse. You talk to your spouse about the abuse that you've gone through and expecting that spouse not to continue also that same abuse. You expect that not to happen because you come to them and, hey, this happened and this is triggers that they did to me, and you expect them also not to do. You want to make sure that the triggers that they did, um I mean, I'm going to give an example. Before my ex-husband, my the man I was with before that, physically would abuse me and bash my head into cabinets. So a trigger I had was cabinet doors being left open. Do not leave cabinet doors open. And you expect, when cabinet doors are left open, for you expect the husband to go close them so that, or spouse or whatever, to go close them so that you don't have that trigger anymore when the cabinet door gets left open, that you're going to have your head bashed into it. So, little personal, but you expect that not to happen. So, you want to make sure to be open and let them know, hey, this is a trigger. Can you please not do this, because it's going to cost me a lot of damage. So,
Yeah. And when they don't respond to that, how does that make you feel?
oh, it hurts.
Uh,
it it's pretty harsh, because then you have to constantly relive that trauma, because they don't want to remember that that triggers you. They don't want to, and that hurts, because now you have to relive that all over again until you can finally figure out how to not let it bother you.
yeah. Y'all find that difficult to try to not let something that your mate's doing, not let it affect you, or are you
It's
not aware?
it's hard. I'm gonna tell you, it took like 3 or 4 years to finally turn it off.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
hard.
What helped you turn it off, Cynthia? Anything in particular? Or
I guess kind of seeing it open and realizing, oh, he's not gonna do what he did. And like I said, it took years. It took years.
yeah,
It took years, and every time, for at the start of it, every time I would walk past an open cabinet, I would flinch, and he would walk past me and hug me instead of hitting me. So that helped a lot. That helped a lot. He did, you know, acknowledge that it was triggering me, but he would hug me instead of hit me.
well, that kind of thing would, replace the old
It
memories with,
it did. It did, but like I said, it took a really long time for that to happen.
yeah. I mean, anybody ever been in a car wreck, you had the same experience. Uh,
Yeah.
you get near something that looks like what happened when that bad thing happened, and you will flinch, you will freeze, you'll do a lot of stuff. Um, there's some scenarios with relationships that are interesting. I don't know about you guys, but you can actually get involved with somebody who's like a serial, how do I put it? Someone who has cheated on multiple people prior to you, say, you know what I mean? Or maybe you could be that person. I don't know. And so it kind of, we can attract those type of people into our circle. And that's something to really have a conversation about. I know personally, I was attracted to the wrong people. I joke around and I say that I married my mother 3 times, which is crazy. Because my mother, for me, I've got 5 brothers. So for me, she was abusive, and she was like, probably a little narcissistic. It was all about her. She didn't give me, I guess you'd call it emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, all of that crap. And the worst thing about it was, I didn't know what was going on. I'm just trying to survive. You know what I mean? And so you find out down the line, oh yeah, what your mom did, that wasn't cool. You know what I mean? Uh, there's some programming that happens with people, especially with their moms. Um, and there's a theory about it, but basically, the theory is this, and I don't know if you can see the board or not, but the theory is this. The mother, everybody's mother, or your primary caregiver has the innate ability to write your script, right? To write your script, or we could call it a program. And that program or script or narrative, right? That narrative, that's what we live by. That's what we go by, what we live by. And the thing is, until you know better, you won't be able to do any better. So if you got a mom in particular, because she's the one that gave birth to you, she's the one that you spend most of your time with, she's the one that's got ready access to you. Emotionally, you bond, you're supposed to, with your mom. Dads, not so much because of their functionality. Dads usually go out and, stereotypically go out in the public and they work, and bring home the money, whatever. But even if both parents work, it's still the mother that you're closest to. Why? Because biologically, you spent 9 months, 10 months with your mom in her womb. I mean, neurologically, you're closer to your mother. And so when that person withholds things from you, like compassion, like love, like, wanting to be held, right? If you want to be held and your mom don't want to pick you up, and I'm sure you've seen the stories or maybe experienced yourself where the kids up there, mommy, 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 trying to get their attention and they just kind of ignore them, right? That leaves an impression on a child. And maybe the child's just being needy, but maybe they just kind of need to be held for a few minutes. Whatever it is, that's not satisfied, and the child's going to have a mark, right? An emotional scar behind that. Even if the child doesn't remember cognitive, like the prefrontal cortex doesn't remember, I remember when my mom wouldn't pick me up. That may not happen if the child's young enough, but what would happen is that memory will become encoded into your body. And so there's a part of you will always remember that, okay? And there's a part of you it will code it in your body somewhere. And when you're older, it will come out. It will make itself known. It has to, right? Biologically, it has to. So that problem that the child has, not being picked up, not being ignored, or whatever, that carries over. So guess what? When you get to dating and all of that, next thing you know, you're really serious about somebody, and next thing you know, you're kissing and hugging and whatever, and you decide this is my person, right? I'm gonna be with this person for the rest of my life. And then you get married, right? Or you get engaged or whatever. Or you become a domestic partner, however you define it. All that stuff that happened between you and old mom is coming with you into this marriage. And so then when your mate doesn't pay attention to you the way you feel like you should, guess what's going to happen? You're going to act out. You're going to act out. You're going to become emotional. You're going to, perform like Michael Jackson. Why? Because of what happened when you was a kid. See, some people can shrug stuff off like it's no big deal because they're secure in themselves when it comes to, say, being cared for and held or whatever. But some people are super needy as adults. But that's because they didn't get what they really needed when they was little. Or maybe they did, but they didn't believe that they did. So it's really convoluted. But our emotional baggage, that can be super heavy, you know? And then all of a sudden, you packing all that luggage around, just the emotional stuff. And we ain't even gotten to the physical. And so you're dealing with things, and a lot of times you don't know what bothers you. I know I didn't know until, I don't know, I was probably in my mid 20s when something clicked in my head, you know? My mom's been abusing me all these years. You know what I mean? So that piece presents its own set of troubles too. Um, Learned beliefs. That's this narrative. I don't know how many of y'all were taught certain things as kids, and then you grow up and you decide that's not my belief system. Anybody? Raise your hands. One, two. Y'all want to share? You don't have to. No, no. Well, I got a belief system that really was interesting growing up, and this is gonna sound real terrible. Can I be real with y'all? Can I show of hands be straight up real with y'all? I don't want to offend nobody. Craig, am I cool with being real? Okay. Destiny and Aaron, am I cool with being real with y'all? I don't want to offend nobody. Yeah. You good? Okay. Now I'm gonna tell you. This was back in the 70s. This is gonna sound terrible. I'm just gonna give you a warning. Wasn't my belief, but my mother. Not my dad, my mother. My mother hated white people. She hated white. Let me tell you something. And how do I grow up in a house with a church going woman, right? Sang in the choir. Her daddy was a deacon at the local church and business and entrepreneur and all that, pillar of the community. And this woman don't like white people. I remember first time ever hearing her talking nasty about her coworker. And I thought, I thought she liked her. You know what I mean? And then there's certain other things that she would say. But what really got me was when she confronted me when I was 17, Craig, I was 18 in high school. And I had a multicultural friends. You know, I had all kinds of, she had a problem with that. She told me that if I married, this is the truth, if I married a white girl, she would disown me. I'm thinking, that's when I knew, my mother's racist, right? I never subscribed to that belief, but at the same time, I had to look back on my life and I said, you know what? I We interacted with everybody in the community, but I never saw anybody coming to the house that wasn't, black or whatever. And there was other thing. And then I found out other things about her, and I'm thinking, dang, how did I not know that she was like this? Right? It was really sad. So, I had to examine and I had to take that and reject it, right? Because I'm like, that teaching is wrong, and move forward. But sometimes we take on stuff that trust is a part of that too. How many of y'all have trust issues in your marriage? Yeah, yeah, it happens. Y'all want to share? You don't have to. About what kind of trust issues you might have? I got one thumb up, maybe two.
I can share.
You
Um,
okay?
I
Talk to us.
I my trust issues are not really, they kind of go along with your last question that Cynthia answered. It's more about like not bringing in things that have happened in my old relationships and trying to just trust that my husband is his own person and he's not going to treat me like the people that in my past relationships have treated me.
Hmm. Did you ever resolve that in your mind, or is it still a question?
I still have problems with it, but I am much more at at peace with just having faith in my husband, because we've been together for almost 11 years, and he hasn't given me any of those reasons that the people that I had previously been with like had given me not to trust them. So it's just separating that in my mind.
That sounds like what Cynthia was talking about. Do,
Yeah.
do you want to, you don't have to outline any specific thing, but do you want to kind of knock around like what it was for you? Like, yeah.
Well, for me, a big thing with my old relationships is, I would find that almost every time I would go through, like one of my ex-boyfriend's phones or whatever, like when we were together, I would find something like they were cheating on me, or they were talking to other women, or, getting naked pictures from other women and things like that. And I've gone through my husband's phone. Like he doesn't keep it. We have each other's passwords and everything. We don't hide anything from each other. And I've gone through his phone many times, and never, had any reason to believe that he was doing anything wrong. And it's just hard to separate that in my mind.
And that's something that a lot of people have problems with. Social media is a huge thing. That's like a tinderbox. You know what I mean? Um, you know, the finding stuff in the phone. I know that happened with my oldest stepdaughter. She was in high school, y'all, on the baseball team, and she really liked this guy. I Okay, I didn't like him, but she liked him. Okay. And so she was like all into him. And when I went to Virginia to study for my master's degree, she told me, she says, Dad, um, I'm not with so and so anymore. And I said, well, what happened? And she said, well, I was going through his phone and I found all of these messages between him and, wait a minute, all of her teammates. She played softball. And I said, what? And so sure enough, she read all of these messages. I think they were text messages, I'm not sure. And so she confronted the guy. Wait a minute. She confronted the guy and she found out that all of these girls in her circle knew about it, Craig. They were well aware of what was going on. That man was messing around with every girl on the team, and nobody said nothing to my daughter. And I said, dang, that sucks. I mean, what could I say? I mean, that was terrible, you know? And so, you get that kind of a response. Do I trust somebody else? See? Because that's like being shamed, embarrassed, disappointed. You can go fishing all day long with those feelings. And betrayal has to be in there too, because none of her so-called girlfriends said anything about it. They was involved with the guy just like the rest of them. And the ones that weren't, they didn't say nothing. And I thought, that's terrible, you know. So she had all that to deal with. It don't make sense. Anybody else got something like that? Maybe they want to share, maybe, because that's a tough one. That's a tough.
I've been with my husband for 14 years now. When we first got together, he was cheating on me with my best friend
Oh Lord.
right after I had our daughter.
Oh Lord.
So I understand the not trusting. Even now, I have his password to his phone, his Facebook, but him talking or having social media in general is definitely a trigger thing.
Yeah.
So
How do you deal with it?
I work.
Yeah.
I work, Chris. I stay at work. I come home and me and the kids. But we're still together. We have whenever I start having those questions, he's usually pretty good about, okay, so this is what's happening. This is who messaged me. Because, when he's on his phone, he can be on his phone all day long. And there are times where it bothers me, and then there are times where it doesn't. But when he notices, hey, this is bothering her, he's very open about, okay, this is what's happening.
Mm-hmm. Does that help you though? Like,
Sometimes, yeah, it just, I have my own issues on my own side. So sometimes it'll help, and then sometimes my brain's just like, hey, he's lying to you.
yeah.
So I just kind of, and if he notices, hey, she thinks I'm still lying, he'll hand me his phone. So,
Well, oh, how many of y'all like that? Show of hands. Like, you think that's productive? That's kind of cool. That's kind of because you're putting out the fire kind of before it really gets going. Um, Personal testimony. My ex-wife, oh, she thought I was cheating on her. Was I? Of course not. But in her mind, I was guilty. See? And one fine day, I think it was a Wednesday, because I worked at NASA at the time in the protection division, and I had Tuesday, Wednesdays off. She was working at NASA too, but she was like Monday through Friday business hours. And so, and I think at that time I was working nights too. So anyway, she was like highly suspicious of me, right? And and I'm thinking, and I didn't know she was suspicious of me, but I found out. Y'all want to know how I found out? I'll tell you how I found out. I'm in the pool, and you know those community pools they have in your neighborhood? That's the kind of situation we had. And I'm in the pool, Craig. I'm swimming. I'm doing laps. It wasn't nobody out there but me and the lifeguard. That was it. And I'm going back and forth, just, and it was literally 4 houses from my, house. I left my cell phone at home because I was just down the street. I didn't feel like I needed to have a cell phone at the pool. And so I'm swimming doing laps. And let me tell you something. You know how you do laps and you kind of reach out for the wall? I reached out for the wall and pulled myself up, and guess what I saw right there? My wife in this lavender dress. I'll never forget it. Craig, I was just looking, and I'm like, wow, what are you doing here? And she was livid. Craig, she blamed me for everything in the world. You over here with some woman? Whoa, woman, ain't nobody out here for me. I'm totally by myself, except for the light guard. And I thought that was crazy. And I said, ain't no way, what's she talking about? That woman left her job at NASA, drove all the way to League City, and was looking for me. And then when she didn't find nothing wrong, she started blaming me, Craig. She said, well, I wouldn't have had to come out here had you had your phone. What? And then she blamed me some more, talking about I should have done this. I should have let her know I was going to the pool. I'm like, oh, what? I couldn't win. You know what I mean? I'm like, well, I didn't know that was your expectation. You know what I'm saying? Like, we never talked about if you leave the house for 5 minutes, you got to tell me and all that. None of that was ever discussed. So I was guilty, and I don't think she ever let that go. And, it went from that to you didn't get home exactly at whatever time you always got home. Well, there was traffic. Or maybe I pull over and got gas before I got home. It became a situation, right? And I'm thinking, she don't have no proof that I've done anything wrong. I ain't gonna go into what really happened on the back end of it, but I found out that she was the one that was cheating on me. Crazy, huh? you know. But so some people bring that to the table. What about like, well, we talked about the neglected. What about anger, y'all? I know y'all got anger issues. I got them. Everybody got something. What about anger? Because that's happened to me. And it's like, okay. But I'll read the slide and then we can talk about it if you want. What's inside the suitcase? Anger, fear of abandonment. My hands up. Rejection, mistrust, insecurity, unhealed wounds from previous relationships. Is that your hand up there, Miss Stephanie? You wanna comment or no? Okay. And the unhealed wounds, we processed that a bit already. And that could be a heart. So how does this baggage look inside of your marriage? How can you recognize this baggage in your marriage? How can you do it? Well, one is you overreact to small things, kind of like what I was just mentioning about me. Little bitty things. You wasn't home, you 5 minutes late. Well, I don't know about y'all, but Craig, I can't do nothing in 5 minutes. I really can't. I mean, I'm trying to think hard. What bad thing can I do in 5 minutes? I'll be hard pressed to figure that out. Some people go off the handle because you're not home exactly on time, and it becomes an issue. Or they think that you're whatever and they're doing this and that and the other. It could be little stuff, super small stuff. Anybody have that in your life? You might overreact to little bit things or things that might not look like a little bit, but your ex is responding and volatility to something that you think this super small thing. Anybody? Yeah.
Sir, as a woman, there's a lot of things that you can get done in 5 minutes.
Oh, girl.
If she's that good.
Oh, well, see, I'm a guy. I don't know. Guys, 5 minutes. Well, we don't have to talk about that one. That's got to be.
There's a lot of things that you can get done in 5 minutes.
Well, we're all grown people here.
You can suck them off in less than 5 minutes.
Jesus.
You can finger her in less than 5 minutes and get her off if you're that good.
Dang. Well, see, I'm a guy. I wouldn't even thought of that. Well, okay, I'll stand correct. But but see, that's helpful because to a guy, I don't know about you, Craig, or you, Aaron, but I wasn't even thinking like that. But okay, so you're a wife, you're a woman, Steph. Oh, 5 minutes. Now here I'm thinking, my wife losing her mind. I was just 5 minutes late. But you just gave us two good examples of what can happen in 5 minutes that never occurred to my mind. I don't know about you guys. So, okay, that makes sense, right?
There's also the fact that, I don't know how it is for most people, but say like someone with me, I have ADHD. And do you understand the amount of thoughts that like in a 5 minute span, all of these thoughts can go through my head. Well, this happened and this happened and this happened and it only took 5 minutes, but in my head, it felt more like sometimes maybe an hour. It all just depends. Like I could have so many thoughts in a 5 minute span, and I don't even realize that it's only been 5 minutes.
That's incredible. Anybody else have that kind of, thoughts or any type of